Hi, I'm Brett. Today I've got another video update for you on the Ford Ecoboost. And what we're going to talk about today is the way to improve the car from a performance point of view based on our dyno testing over the last few weeks. And particularly we're going to talk about the front mount intercooler. Now, the front mount intercooler is designed to cool the inlet air that goes into the engine after it's been compressed by the turbocharger, because the turbocharger, when it compresses it, makes it hot. So therefore you want to reduce that temperature before it goes in the engine, so the engine will operate more efficiently and generate more torque because you run more ignition spark. Now, this particular car has now had the Mishimoto front mount intercooler fitted, and you'll notice when you look at the front mount on the frontal area of the Mustang, there's not a lot of height to fit a mechanically bigger intercooler from a frontal air point of view, because there's not a lot of room in the front of these cars. So what Mishimoto have done is mechanically made the intercooler deeper. Now, that is a positive and a negative, but in the good side of things, this actually does make an improvement in performance, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's just talk about how the intercooler actually works and the effects of the way the intercooler performs its job. So what happens is the hot air comes in, and as it travels through the intercooler across from one side to the other, the air going through from the road speed through these veins in here absorbs the heat off the core with the heated air inside it and takes the heat out the back, and therefore reduces the temperature. Now, the downside is the thicker the core, the less efficient the intercooler is as you get to the back of the core, because of course the front side has got the coldest air going in from the road speed, but as that air goes through and it draws heat out of the intercooler, it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. So the bigger the difference in temperature, the greater the ability to change that temperature. But as it gets to the back, of course, as we said, it's not quite as efficient. So what this intercooler actually does, and we'll compare it here to the original factory one, and you can see it's a different type of design, but mechanically, if I get my cameraman from the side, just see mechanically how physically thicker or deeper the intercooler is compared to the factory standard one. Factory one has the plastic pipes with the intake and the outlet side on it, which is then replaced, and I'm just looking for the fitting here on the way it fits, because it's quite interesting the way Ford have designed it. It's got a lot of plastic components that it clips into place and sits on the side, and of course it goes like that because there's the angle of pipe, which is then replaced with a silicon kit, which is part of the Mishimoto front mount intercooler. So let's just talk a little bit more about why this intercooler increases performance. Now, it's got to be balanced with a performance tune to take advantage of it at the moment. So this particular car has now had the custom tune done by us with the race-rom tuning technology using the factory ECU. We then started modifying the car, and what we found as far as our testing of all the different components available on the market, when you fit the front mount intercooler, the first power run on the dyno, even with good airflow, by the time you've finished your power run, the intercooler temperature coming into the engine after it's been cooled by the intercooler is effectively starting to rise dramatically, and the next run you do after that, it then goes higher and higher and higher, because effectively, because this intercooler is so big, it acts as a ginormous heat sink. So of course the first run, when it's all nice and cold, has the ability to absorb heat because it's aluminium, as well as get rid of heat because of the airflow. The next power run you do after that, it can't recover quick enough, and then it just goes higher and higher and higher. Now, the interesting point that we found when we were testing is, compared to the original factory front mount, when you do the power run, halfway through the power run, the front mount intercooler is already at a temperature that is excessive to what you would normally tune for, no matter how hard we tried to get as much air going through the front of this intercooler as what we could. So what that told us was the efficiency of the factory intercooler compared to the Mishimoto intercooler is not the same, because of the ability for the bigger intercooler to get rid of heat because of its ability to absorb it. Now, on the road, these things are going to be a little bit different, but for simplification point of view, the front mount intercooler will increase power and performance combined with a custom tune to match at the same time. Next, what we'll do is we'll talk about some of the other components we've fitted on this particular car, so you can understand what your best value for money is. But in summary, at the moment, our recommendation is custom tune mechanically standard. If you then want more performance, then you would go for the front mount and get that tuned at the same time. And then after that, we'll talk about the next model, next upgrade path from there. But if you want more technical information, obviously check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Check out our other videos for the Ford Mustang Ecoboost engine, and we'll give you another update soon. Bye for now.